I feel like you got a mask on to hide that really you're like a 15-year veteran. That's based on everything that you're saying. But that's awesome. It's awesome that he gets it, and a lot of people don't.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.
Big episode number 50 here with two fantastic guests. If you're on social media at all as a wrestling fan, you've definitely seen some of our first guest clips circulating. Just out of this world offense. You might have seen him in GCW, ROH, most recently Pro Wrestling Noah. Please welcome and always bet on Ninja Mack.
How y'all doing today? Y'all want to make big bets? Because I think
Huge.
we can make big bets on this today.
No, we definitely can. And I mean, our next guest needs no introduction, absolute legend wherever he goes, having held TNA, WWE, and ECW World Heavyweight titles, WWE Hall of Famer, one of a kind. Please welcome Rob Van Dam.
Hey.
So happy to have you both, really. This is awesome. Huge similarities between you two. And first, I want to go to Rob because I know you just got back from Japan about a week ago. And you vlogged the whole experience and put it on your YouTube channel, Rob Van Dam. For anyone out there who wants to check it out, some awesome content. Want to talk about that new project?
Yeah. So you got YouTube at The Real RVD. I'm trying to learn about YouTube. I had the page for a long time, and I used to load stuff on a long time ago, and I took like a 13-year break and just started using it again. A lot of the videos at the bottom say, you know, last 13 years ago, but then it's been almost, I don't know, it seems like 6 months to a year that I've been working on it. I got someone that's helping me, and right now we got it where got some a lot of episodes that I'm really proud of, and the really old episodes we're like re-uploading them and making those current again. So that's mixed in with current stuff. But my YouTube page is now the place to keep current with me because I'm filming and making videos out of it everywhere I go, which is great for me because I've been trying to get better at getting content and I suck at it. And everyone that I have as a partner in business is always on my ass, you know, to get more content, or when people interview you, you know, get those, get their business cards. And it's like, I gotta be me, man. It's fun now and it's natural to capture everything. And I'm even editing these videos. So yeah, I just put one up yesterday of my trip to Japan, which was just a week ago. Came back on Monday, actually, so 1 week ago from today. Or did I come back Tuesday? I guess late Monday night. Anyway, great trip, and go to the YouTube page to check it out. And whatever I did the week before, I got on there too. I can't remember what it is, but I usually, me and Godfather did a signing up in Illinois.
Ooh,
yeah,
that was great. Yeah,
I live a life of content, so now I'm just better. If I capture 50% of what I do, then you know, got a lot of exciting shit to show people. So that's cool. And I wrestled for Noah, and it was awesome. I felt great. My body felt limber. I felt like working.
You look good.
You do look good, yeah. In that vlog, especially,
thanks,
you were looking great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird because it sounds cliche when people in their 50s, you know, say, I'm in the best shape of my life. And it's like, come on. And I'm not saying that, but I definitely feel better than I felt in years. I know I'm long-winded here, but I just want to say when I wrestled for Impact last time, for my whole run, 2000, I guess 19 to 20, 21, however long I was there, I was hurt like the whole time. It was my back was locked up. I pulled or tore this shoulder and this shoulder. My rib was cracked for a long time, and fans don't know when they're watching. They just think like, oh, he can't move like he used to. They don't. Everything is perspective. But man, having all of that feel better makes all the difference in the world.
Hey, well, we're glad you're back, and we're glad with your pro wrestling, Noah. We really appreciate that, and we're going to be running well. But we're glad you're healthy, and we're glad you're back. And I watched that tag match, that 3-man tag, and you dominated that match, man. You went out, and it was Rob Van Dam.
Cool, man. I had a 6-man tag match, and I know that they had it set up so that I could have taken it easy and build up to the big tag. And I said, I'll start this motherfucker. And I started out.
Only way to do it. Yeah.
It's not often. It's really not often that I actually look forward to the match. That part at this stage is work. Like I appreciate it. My job and all that. But I'm always just like, man, I can't wait to be done with this tonight. It was quite the opposite this time. It was amazing. Having Katie on the trip with me was a lot of fun. Yeah. And just being in Japan and wrestling in front of the Japanese fans, which is where, part of how I came up in the business since '93. It was all just the best vibe, and it was a great experience.
Yes, good.
Really, really cool to hear. We talked about it off air. Ninja Mack, congratulations in order. You just signed with Pro Wrestling Noah, a 1-year deal, if I'm correct, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we return July 16th. I'm actually taking on GCW's own, Texas' own, Dante Leon. And you can watch that match on the Wrestle Universe app by subscribing. And that way you can watch out Noah. Or you can just watch the Japanese content on RVD's YouTube page. And you can always subscribe to these channels. If you subscribe to us all, we're all going to make big bets. But yeah, I signed to Noah. I really appreciate what they offered and being over there for the first time. Unfortunately, I returned about 2 weeks right before RVD got there. So I didn't get to cross paths with him. And maybe on his next tour, my go around, we can cross some paths. And I said, maybe I take you out for a drink.
Well, I can tell you right now, I'm returning in July 16th. I'll be at that show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm it's going to be my I think they've announced this. No, I saw a poster, so it was a little bit of a build. I was doing a interview, and Nosawa came and challenged me for the hardcore match. He's a champion, but he challenged me because he wants to wrestle me. I said, sure, thank you for your championship. I'll take it. And now it's going to be a tag match. And him and Super Crazy against myself and Tanaka from ECW. So looking forward to that. And also, this is going to be at the Tokyo Budokan. When I wrestled for All Japan from '93 to '97, all of our tours, well, except maybe one, but traditionally they all ended with the big show at the Budokan, which would hold like 17,000 people. And it would be like a big deal, like you work, whether it's 1 week or 4 weeks prior, even though your body's all beat up and you're road worn, that last show is just like there's something special about you wanting to give it all and get over in that big venue, and I'm really looking forward to returning there to it.
Yeah, good. We're excited. I'm glad I'll be able to cross paths July 16th with you.
Doing this for a little bit, having a legend, rising star, but it's cool that you guys are about to cross paths and learn a bit about each other right now too. Both of your styles, definitely see similarities with both of your styles. And Rob, your approach to pro wrestling has always been to be different and go by your own path. How did you go about that with your original style?
And really, it wasn't so much of a decision as just an organic drive. I've always been different. So I think that if you knew me in other capacities besides wrestling, you would also discover that I'm, an oddball, maybe out of a bunch of people. And I think that's really it. I think that's why I enjoyed things that were different, as a fan watching Leaping Lanny Poffo. Everyone was like, oh, he's going to get his ass kicked.
Yes.
He did jobs, but he mesmerized. As a fan, I was just, I believed every night, like, this is going to be his night. He's going to win tonight, because he did flying head scissors and he did like a moonsault off the second rope and monkey flips. Nobody was doing that I saw at the time. And so I thought that was exciting. You know, it was like I watched, I watched martial arts movies. And so I was running up a tree doing backflips because I saw it done. And that's what I was drawn towards. And that's what always compelled me. So I was trying to think of moves that weren't done before, but they had to fit. They don't have to fit anymore. That's the difference in wrestling. And that's a perspective I can give the ninja here, is that a lot of people know that something's missing. They don't know what it is or whatever. And I see it because, you know, I lived it. But one thing is that I had to get my shit in, you know, like when I would wrestle in All Japan, you know, I was the only one diving to the floor when I went there. They thought I was crazy. They thought Stan Hansen gave me shit because he said it didn't fit. And, you know, he would say, we'd be talking about the match beforehand, and he'd say, well, after, get me in there, you know, and let me try and make it look believable again after all he does his shit. And, you know, it was very insulting, but I was a young boy. Yeah. That's part of being humbled. And I didn't let him break me, though, because I didn't agree with him. And now I see that with other young guys. They probably might not agree with it, might not give a fuck what I think anymore. but the foundation of wrestling that we had to work with has been deteriorated, dissipated. And that's why you can fit in stuff before. I earned Stan's respect during one match, because then he realized I was getting my shit in around him. He didn't have to know if I was going to give him a shoulder or do a backflip and then kick him in the face, or if I was going to do a standing moonsault or a 360. He didn't need to know if I'm going to do that before I cover him. And he was like, wow, I got to say, I never, you know, that you were there, then you disappeared. I didn't know where you were. In one match, I gained his respect. I couldn't have gone to Stan Hansen and said, I want to kick you, and then I want you to hold my foot, okay? And then we'll go 1, 2, 3. Give me support because I want to push off your hand. That wouldn't have worked. And when I see wrestling now, to me, I see all that. Just like a whole match, almost not the whole match, but a lot of it looks like that. You know, like they're going ready, 1, 2, 3. You know, and it's like, to me, it's disappointing just because of my old school foundation. I know Sheik, who trained me, would be insulted. So that's one thing. But how did I don't even know what you asked me. How I got on.
That was it was a good answer, and I definitely want to hear Ninja's perspective on it too.
You know, I would just taking that perspective. I'd like to ask, maybe one day. You can watch a match and we can do a review of one of my matches and just to kind of see, can I do a little bit of crazy stuff? But I said I like freestyle, and I like to see what just happens in the ring a lot. And those are actually my best reactions and my best responses. So even just to step in the ring and just free roll, I mean, it's very exciting. So maybe one day we can just go review a match and see. But wrestling, man, I mean, I think the change of internet and the way we watch 15, 30-second clips, everything is trying to be marketed in a certain perspective. I think that's taken over a lot of the matches. Just, I mean, especially running a lot with GCWs, because going to Noah, it was a whole different understanding how to work in front of that crowd. And then even when I was just in Germany and in Europe, it was a whole different crowd, just like Mexico. When you're traveling, you gotta feel a crowd if you're going to do a match. And if you can't feel a crowd, and I always like to tell people, if you can't see with your ears, you shouldn't be moving in that ring, be able to go crazy. So I think you should be able to see with your ears in a match to be able to do some stuff.
Like Rob was just saying, when he was doing it, not a lot of people were putting in the offense that he was putting in. But for you now, as we see wrestling's changed so much, we see a lot of that lucha high-flying offense that you do in your matches. So how do you constantly stay different and update that moveset?
it's knowing the people, because I don't like to have specific things. Like some people get known for certain things. I like to adjust. The whole idea of being my ninja and really studying the Ninja Foundation to me was, I mean, I've trained multiple sports, and I really take every wrestling match seriously. And I'm gonna adjust to my opponent every time. So if I got a quicker opponent and I can move faster just to try and outspeed him, I'm going to use that. But if I got a bigger opponent, I mean, I'm going to have to do some stuff to knock him down, because I ain't no way I'm going to go lift a 350-pound man up at my size. I got to find a way to work him down and be able to attack him while he's on the ground, throwing my whole weight into him. So I really I try and go into every match looking at my opponent to adjust. So that's why you see a lot of different things and not just certain things, because you got to be able to adjust in the ring, and then also you got to be able to adjust on the fly. I've always believed if you can't hear the crowd, like, and you can't dictate what's happening, it's very hard to take it places and then be able to put yourself in a better position to take advantage.
Absolutely. And so for Rob, talking about learning the crowds, do you have any thoughts on what Ninja just said? Was there a moment where you learned the ECW crowd?
Definitely. Yeah. So Ninja Mack gets it. You know, that's great to hear. Like everything that he said. I could imagine myself trying to explain that to younger generations. So that's great. A couple of things I want to say on what he said. One, it was so weird in Japan because they are under COVID restrictions, so they're still wearing the mask and all this. They're not allowed to clap. They're not allowed to respond to your, and it's not just the wrestling fans. It's rock and roll concerts, everything. If someone's up there going, yeah, they've loosened up the restrictions enough so they can go. It's so weird because you know, I couldn't really hear them, and it wasn't fun for me. You know, I mean, it didn't like throw me off my game, but I mean, the first time, like, boom, but I just looked to the crowd, you know, to get my praise, and I was like, hey, did you see what I just did? You guys are supposed to be screaming that, you know? Which Americans wouldn't have the discipline to be able to not react if you told them to. That's a huge difference. And I love that. I was reminded how much I do love the Japanese crowd. Not that I forgot, but I want to say that, like, that's a really weird factor in the entertaining over there right now. Right when I got off the airplane, the lady, the Remy that works with Noah, she wanted to film me at the airport or whatever. I took the mask off. As soon as I started talking to the camera, you know, I was like, back in Japan. Just, like, oh, no good, maybe. And I'm like, okay. Then I learned, you know, I was eating behind a plastic glass with plastic gloves on and stuff. Yeah. But also another thing I want to say is there's never been a time in the business where it's easier for fans to get into the industry, you know, and I don't know if everyone knows that, if that's obvious or not, but back in the day, we would get beat up, get stretched, and then tested just to see if we even belong in the ring. And it was like kind of like joining the mafia, you know. You came in, it was a secret society where you didn't bring any outsiders in, and all. It was very different. And now it's like, well, first off, the average wrestler might have been 250, 260. Now I think they're like 175, 180 pounds. That's a huge difference, you know, as far as like fans getting into the business. And also, because the whole world is so much more of a safe work environment, because, you know, before it was like I said, we got beat up. Yeah. So because of all that, that's why a lot of the old school foundation has been compromised or, as I said earlier, dissipated, and why the whole style is changing to, like I said, 1, 2. I mean, now it's more about the bumps that he's saying. I don't want to talk bad about anybody specifically, but I saw.
You can rag on me. I don't mind. Rag on me.
Well, I'm just thinking about something I saw, and one of the things that makes me shake my head. And it was someone taking a bump off a ladder yesterday. It was two girls. They were on the very top where the belt is, right? Yeah. And another girl pushes them, and they fell over and they went through a table. And I just know they were probably so proud of what they did. And that would have just been like, with Sabu as my mentor, man, we would have just like tore them up over they totally dropped their commitment. They're not even reaching for the belt. They're already looking at the table as they're standing there. And the girl that pushed it, I swear it felt like ready, go. When she was pushing the leg, it was so, there was no fight to it. There was absolutely no fight. Nobody was fighting. And that's a big thing that's different to me. Like before I ever had my first match, my mindset was committed to being in a fight. You know, little things of just like reaching, grabbing someone's hand and trying to pull their hand off my throat instead of going like everybody else. You know, all those little things is what was put into me that seems to be missing for the most part by a lot of the guys today.
But you're a legend. You're a legend. That's why you're a legend. Those details make you a legend.
Well, I had a great trainer, you know, with Sabu and the Sheik, you know. So to answer the question, was there a time? There was different times when I learned a lot, pivotal moments in my career. One of the matches where I learned what we're talking about really connecting and staying connected with the crowd and feeding off of their response and building it and making everything mean something. It's a match that I just put up on my YouTube page from 95, where I wrestled Danny Crockett at the Budokan, where we will be July 16th. And that match was very pivotal. It was the first singles match I had at the Budokan, because they take care of you in All Japan, or that was how they did it traditionally. I'd be in tag matches, 6-man, 8-man matches. This was a singles match. It was for the junior title championship, and it was a really big deal for me. And Crockett, he taught me so much that is one of the pivotal matches in my career where I learned what we're talking about as far as like, wow, it matters where you place stuff and you know, that connection of the audience's emotions.
Yeah. And you said you uploaded that on your YouTube page at The Real RVD, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And always, we go subscribe to that right after this and make sure I check out that match.
Please do. Try to get some numbers on there because I'm having fun with it. And, you know, for that, if eventually I'll get bored if I don't have enough people. That's usually what I do with every project. Eventually I get too busy, but I don't want that to happen. So
there's a lot of comparison that I see to GCW, Ninja Mack to ECW, obviously Rob Van Dam. And I was curious if either of you had thoughts on that comparison.
You know, I mean, just watching all them at ECW, and then just to see the indie crowd we can pull and how we can react. I can definitely see the comparisons and the vibes where I still think we got some room to grow. But I mean, if GCW was to have a baby or a stepchild, I mean, ECW was, GCW would be it. I think we're on the right path to eventually maybe catch them. But, you know, ECW is so legendary. That's going to be hard to do. But I know we're going to be busting our ass to try and even get to their level. But watching them, man, those are all legendary events. That's a tough road to go down. But I know we're willing to take that challenge in that locker room that we have. I mean, the shows we had yesterday and Saturday, those places were packed. And those are just one-off shows. Those aren't even our big houses. So I know we're doing something right, but we're drawing huge crowds. So
yeah, you really are. GCW, I mean, it's everywhere. Rob, have you seen any of the work?
I've only seen a couple of snippets, a couple seconds on social media. I haven't seen any actual matches, but Sabu, quite a while ago, I mean, now he's not taking bookings for matches anymore, but seemed like it was like 2 years ago now. He told me exactly what you said. Like he was saying he was wrestling for GCW, doing trips for them. And he said, he was trying to talk to me about going there. And he said exactly what you said. He said, man, this is, they're like the new ECW.
I said, good crowd. I mean, not that I would ever have to help you because I'm sure you get wherever you need. But if you ever would like me to make the pitch for GCW, I'll definitely reach out for you.
Appreciate it.
You talked, Ninja, about how your upcoming opponent, Dante Leon, and I've seen a lot of the matches you two have put on. A style so innovative like yours, what does it mean for you when you find that person who could keep up and you could create that magic in the ring?
I'm trying to whoop his ass, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I got him the last time, and he got me the first time. You know, we started that at Martinez Entertainment in Dallas on a 3-way, and then we took it to Loco Wrestling, the Houston promotion I help out. And then on that Houston promotion, that's actually, we're wrestling with unicorns, got those clips, and that's how Noah was actually able to see me, and GCW. And then GCW ended up booking me and Dante for JCW, their first ever comeback show we did the main event for. And those clips all went pretty viral. So then they ended up booking us in Los Angeles for GCW. And that Los Angeles crowd was something special once again. And it's just, after this last year, he's been a good rival, but we're not done. I'm still trying to whoop his ass every time I see him, and they make me tag with him every now and then. So I still try and hit him even as a tag partner. But he's a good guy when he's not beating me up. He's a when I'm beating his ass up. So
for sure, and definitely a lot of similarities. Something like Rob and Jerry Lynn or Sabu, who ended up becoming your tag partner too. So how did you feel when you knew that you could get in there with someone and mix it up and also create like that magic back in ECW?
Well, first off, there was no catching up to Sabu. He was instrumental in physically training me. You know, I met him when I was 18, before my 19th birthday, and had to try out for the original Sheik. And that involved, amongst other things, getting in the ring with Sabu, who wasn't known yet, and it wasn't even Sabu yet, you know, but he'd been in the business about 6 years, carrying Sheik's bags and doing everything as Sheik's understudy. But we taught each other. He taught me about wrestling, and I taught him about some acrobatics, you know. And even though I don't want to take credit for his form on his backflips or anything, but But, you know, I've always preferred wrestling, someone that's like-minded when it comes to what's cool about a match. So my favorite matches have always been against the, Sabu or Jerry Lynn or Rey Mysterio or Jeff Hardy. You know, me and Jeff Hardy have great matches. When it's people like that, I know the match is going to be, not only is it going to kick ass, but it's going to be less of a compromise for me. Right. So there's reason to be happy about that, because every match is a compromise unless you're wrestling a clone of yourself. Your two minds put together that have different visions, you know, and sometimes it's an issue because it's two different egos, two different agendas, and sometimes it's more of it's more of a together kind of thing where, you know, a lot of guys, and it's true a lot now because everyone grew up watching me or whatever. So now I know if I'm going to wrestle, if I have a match coming up in Ninja Mack, off the bat, I'm like, look, dude, I know you got all kinds of shit in your head. You've been thinking about this. No, I don't. Yeah, come on. Yes, you do. You know, I know you do. Just spit it out. Just let me know what you're thinking about, you know, out of respect, you know, there's just like what do you want to do? But, you know, but that's all part of the business. But so, as far as keeping up with me with all the little things and stuff, it's very, very rare that I see somebody and then I'm like, dude, they're committed. People, I guess it's unnatural to some extent for a lot of people to do what we do, you know. It used to be that all the girls, it was completely unnatural. When I was in WWE in the early 2000s, you know, during the Trish and Victoria and Tori days and all that, man, those girls would be in the ring every day with Finley, and I swear it looked like they had to go like, okay, left foot, right foot. I mean, they were so unnatural, and everything came across like that. Whereas guys that grew up wrestling each other, or if they're fighters, you know, from any kind of a wrestling or martial art or boxing or anything, they have that in them, and it's probably instinctively more in most of them anyway. But now the game has changed, and now the girls are just as good as the guys. So that's cool to me to watch that, because it used to be really hard for me to watch the women's wrestling, and I was vocal about it. And even though they looked good at the time, I was in such a competitive state of mind that I didn't care how good anybody looked. I figured some of my time was being taken up by the Miller Lite girls or the local celebrity that hasn't paid his dues in wrestling. And that's how I looked at everything.
So Ninja, for you, so speaking of Noah, and of course you and RVD are going to come up there, was that July 16th, right? Why? Because I know you got other offers before you signed the Noah contract, but I heard you say that you wanted to check off Noah in your mind on that checklist. So why does your passion lie with Noah right now?
Well, just growing up, I was a big fan of just Triple A and Noah, because that was what was accessible for me to watch at the time growing up. So I was able to watch a lot of that. And then, you see Liger and you see all them back, and just be able to watch any Japanese wrestling. That was always intriguing. You got the cool outfits and they look like Power Rangers. Growing up watching all these shows, very inspiring. But when I came back, because when I started wrestling, I started at Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. RVD, good friend of Booker's. So I did about 2 years there. And then I started doing a lot of lucha, just being in the Texas scene. So I was able to get to Texas and Mexico a lot. And I was able to learn a lot of lucha at the time. And then, life happens and I became a father. And then I took a little hiatus. And then when COVID happened and I came back and I had the time to actually train and commit again. But I had a goal in mind. I didn't just want to wrestle. I came back with a business mindset. I had goals. And when I came back, I wanted to grow Houston wrestling with one of the promotions. I was local wrestling, and then as that was growing, getting back into wrestling, I felt like I had the potential and the ability to do some good things. So when I wrote down, I wanted to work for Triple A and I wanted to work for Noah coming back, and I wanted to see how long that was going to take. And it took 6 months for them to get interest. And then within a year, I worked Triple A, and then, Noah was calling, and it was just COVID pushing me back longer and longer. But now that I was able to get over to Noah, and then, I have to write 3 new goals down now, because this last year is really, I checked off all my goals. I stayed committed to training and grinding out some work. And then I was very fortunate. COVID pushed back my Noah start, because it really pushed it back about a whole year. I was able to grind out that GCW run, and GCW was there for me. So thank you, GCW, on that. And that's just kind of a bonus check I was able to do to help them grow, and they helped me grow so much. But I had 3 goals: help Houston wrestling, try and get to Triple A because I was so close, and then eventually get over to Noah. And it happened very fortunate and fast for me.
Definitely. No, that's so cool to hear. Rob, when you got to WWE, how quickly did it take for them to get you, or someone like Vince to get you? Because we hear a lot nowadays where he doesn't understand a character maybe, and then that character gets put to the side or whatever it may be, but you seem to get that ascent quickly. So how was that for you?
I feel like to you, it felt like, I guess it was prospectively. It didn't feel at the time so much like an ascension, but a lot more like a roller coaster. And I think it's always like that for the person, from their perspective. You get told a lot of shit, and some of it might happen, a lot of it doesn't happen. While you're getting good stuff, you're also being disappointed. At least for me, it was like that, and it really kept me humble. So I never really got to get myself from an outside view while I was going through it. I was too much competing to try to get that spot that they wanted me to fight even harder for. It was really weird. But I don't think that they ever got me. Paul got me, and I think Paul is one of the only people ever in like an agent kind of position that understood me. Johnny Ace, he gets me, but he's still like, he wanted to see angry RVD. That was so important to him. He thought that was the money when and that's always going to be an interest in the tradition of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, an impact when I turned heel too. It was like, I think it might have been Rhino's idea, but something about something that Johnny had said a long time ago in WWE. I don't know if you like take your ponytail out or something. He compared it to Lawler. He said Lawler would take a strap off and then eat the crowd knew. And, anyway, but Paul seemed to really be good at capitalizing on everybody's strengths and hiding their weaknesses, and that's his genius. But I don't think they ever got me. Like I think that it was only because Paul was pushing me so hard that I got not only because of that, but I really think that was probably the nucleus of my momentum for sure. And I hear about that from every agent, and every perspective, that he was always pushing for me when others would push against me. And sometimes he would win the battle, sometimes lose. But Michael Hayes came up to me just, I don't know, a couple months, I guess, within me being there. And he says to me, the other guys in the office, they don't get you, but I get you. He said, I get you. I don't. He goes, but when we see that tie dye, we don't. It kind of reminds us of the 70s. And I'm looking at my airbrush dragon tie dye, like the Dudleys wear. Like that's what you see. So they wanted me. He talked me into getting a WWE made outfit, which was like same cut but all black with like a red dragon. It had maybe a silver patch or something on it, and I ended up just keeping theirs. Love you, baby.
Love you, baby.
I ended up keeping theirs just for house shows after a while, because Joe Holland would make me these sweet, when they're new, they're so bright and they look badass. So I would wear his shit on TV, and on the non-televised shows, I would wear the WWE non-painted one because the paint fades quickly. So I don't think that they ever got me, I think it was always Paul explaining. I've told this a few times, but me and Rey Mysterio, when we were tagging, we were going to do, we had this move, the 420 leg drop, and they wanted, somehow the announcers were going to call it. And Vince says, Paul came to me and says, Vince wants to know why 420 leg drop? And I'm like, what do you mean? That's the name of the move. What do you mean? He goes, he said, is it a drug reference? And I was like, I said, no, it's it's 4 legs because we're doing a double leg drop. 20 is our combined shoe size. I wear 12, he wears 8.
It's amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't think they ever did get me. They were always like, and also Michael Hayes, when he said, I get you, he goes, I forgot about this part. He goes, you're like a surfer dude, right?
I just got to say, your impression game is on point. Like you're rocking out of the park. Yeah.
Oh, I take pride in studying people's habits.
So who's so close with the company, I got to ask, without going into like such specifics, what do you think about Stephanie taking the role of interim CEO? Did you ever think you'd see the day where Vince wasn't in control?
Well, it's always a possibility, but I try to keep my expectations at a minimum, in life overall, right. Which, by the way, is the next RVDology episode that I plan on filming. You'll see that on my YouTube page. RVDology, I've had a lot of fun with. I have a lot of episodes on, I don't know how many, but their principles, their values that I would love it if people might want to adapt some of these to their lifestyle. But also there's stories that no one has ever fucking heard. Each one of them, I tell stories, of me that no one has ever heard. And the people that watch it, the feedback is just incredible. But I got to get more eyes on it, but expectations, expectations are kind of, it's like a presumption based on the future that you don't know, and it builds up disappointment sometimes, you know what I mean? And I tend to live in the moment more. So I want to stretch that out and explain it more when I do my next episode. But, you know, it's one of those things where people say that you buy a dog and you think, well, I know someday I'm going to have to put this dog down. No, you don't know that. No, you don't. That dog might be putting you down. You know, people usually don't know, you know, right before they die. They usually don't know, you know, and I've looked it up. The top 10 reasons for causes of death. Living to old age and then dying is nowhere near the top. It's not even on the top 10. You know, it's all causes that cause your physical body to die. And so, you know, people say that about Vince. They're like, well, you know, someday I know we're going to see him die, and then what's going to happen? Are Hunter and Stephanie going to take over? You know, there's this con dude, or you know, Shano coming back, and it's all talk. And me, I'm always thinking like, we don't know we're going to see Vince die. You know, we don't even know. Tomorrow's not promised. So I look at it like that.
Yeah.
I'm not completely surprised because she is the hierarchy, right? I mean, her and Shane, I mean, they're the prince and princess. So I can't be too surprised, but I don't expect Vince to be too far away, but you know, I don't try to expect too much. Like I just explained.
That is a great answer. And so say that again. What, it's RVDology, you said?
Yeah.
RVDology. Definitely check that. That sounds great. So it's like your own type of like podcast visual setting though, like video.
Yeah, I have a green screen behind me, and I use some video references so people don't drown out on my monotone.
You get some of those impressions going, I'd never stop listening. Really,
the feedback has been really great, you know, and that keeps me going because people tell me like, wow, one of the ones that really touched me, someone said, the more RVDology episodes I watch, the more I learn about myself. And that's it. You know what I mean? I'm 51 years old. I talk about what I learned. You know, I've never known as much as I know now. And I forgot, and I've, you know, forgotten a lot more than I knew when I was 21, you know, so having that, being able to see the bigger picture is an advantage that you don't have until you've lived it and been able to see it. So I'm happy to share from my experiences what I've learned, and I see, you know, I study people, you know, and I see, you know, there's a lack of empathy with people. That scares me. You know, I think so many people, when you don't have empathy, you're a potential psychopath at that point, you know, and it's like, there's so much, I'm going to get mine kind of mentality, which I'm not saying is bad, but it's bad for me. That's not how I live. That's not healthy for my spirit. So I explain my one-of-a-kind perspective.
No, I'll link the episodes down below. I definitely want to check them out. Speaking of the character Ninja, so I know that you do pro gambling, right? In your life outside of wrestling, and you've incorporated that in with the Ninja Mack character, with the want to make a bet and etc. Do you want to talk about that? How that character came to be formed? Very
easy to take the two things, put them together into the character, and then just with the high risk maneuvers. Kind of very martial arts style where we're swinging and we're going for each other's heads. I mean, it's always a big gamble when you go in there in the ring with someone, especially like with MMA background. There's weight classes in pro wrestling. They got some form of weight classes, but I go from having a Calvin Tankman that's 275, 315 pounds to where I had a Cole Radrick yesterday who's 175. This next week I got a speedball gringo match in Toronto, and then the next night I got 6-man lucha match, and then I got Sam Stackhouse, who's a 500-pound monster guy. Taking the chances with the gambling and being able to put all that with my ninja abilities, it's a high risk, high reward. I'm trying to sit at the high roller table now. So
no, definitely. And I've heard how you put it in with your fan interactions too and everything, right? At your merch table. I think it's really cool that you're incorporating it so much.
Well, you know, the little phrases I always tell people, I always ask them if they want to make bets. So if I have fans come up to me at shows at merch tables and they ask me if they want to make a bet, I'll any one of my merches, let's do it. Any gamble you call. I play any game. I do coin flips. Man, I'll even go paper, scissors, rock. And if you beat me, I'll give you half off. But if I beat you, you got to pay double. So, I mean, if you want to make the bet, I'm always willing. And that's kind of where that started. And fans actually really, they really go for it because it's the interaction with me and the ninja, but also the chance of gambling. And they really like the interaction because it's something different. I'm just not sitting behind a table and signing stuff. I'm the guy that'll jump over the table to make that bet with you. And if you beat me, well, half off, I'll give you a picture. I'll sign anything. But if you don't beat me, can't get one of my signatures. So just little fun games I like to do. And then, you know, when I'm in Texas and I have my little my poker tables, I like to play a little blackjack for my merch. If you can beat me in a little blackjack hand while I'm the dealer, I'll cut some merch deals for you. So I like the different ideas. I like different interactions with the fans is something I look into a lot.
I love that. I think that's awesome. But thinking it, like, first thing in my head is, do you worry about the legalities of it, or are you like me hitting my vape pen while I'm signing a comic text?
No, well, I'm always, I said, the way where it's illegal in states, I have to go through tickets. So if you want to play Ninja Mack at my merch tables, you have to get tickets through the front because I can't just do money processes. But that's why I like to do at my merch tables coin flips, paper, scissors, rock. If you got a game you like to just come up, I'm willing to take any challenge. But when I'm playing the blackjack hands, I got to do the ticket route just to be safe for any legalities. I don't think I'm protected from too much. So I got to watch myself on a big level.
Always got to stay safe. Yeah. Rob, for you, I was curious what your thoughts are, because we're talking about your character, especially with your run-in, what your thoughts are on someone like Riddle right now.
I like it. I like his character. And I think the fans do too, especially the same kind of fans, you know, that that would find the stoner part and the martial arts part appealing, you know. So he's over, and he's a cool guy too. I met him years ago at a marijuana fundraiser.
That's perfect. Yeah. That's just
yeah.
I smoked with him in the grotto at the Playboy Mansion when I met him.
It's a great first meeting. Honestly,
yeah. I knew him from the UFC. So yeah, no, he's cool. I think his character's cool. He seems to have fun with it.
Doing really well right now. And just going off that, I mean, Hall of Fame in general, what was that like?
It was a really good experience. You know, it was cool to be back and see everybody, be around them. It was a bit vindicating, you know, from a perspective of kind of feeling like they kicked me out of the image, I guess, because it's not like I'm, you know, it just seems like they don't, you know, you don't see me too often, you know, hosting shows on their WWE network and stuff like that. You know, they don't reach out and talk real often, so that when I see the 203 area code pop up on my phone, you know, I'm like, you know, okay, you know, what's this about? It was Johnny Ace, you know, talking about Vince wanted to know if you were interested in being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so, of course, it was cool. It was a great experience. And I have had very, very loose, not often contact with them since then. But dude, going down in the Hall of Fame is, it's an honor, you know, like one of those things where people ask me if I expected to, and as I explained, you know, no expectations, it would be cool. Could see it either way. So it's really cool to have that. And it's a really cool ring, you know, and some people don't believe it. Some people, you know, are like, dude, are you RVD? And I'll be like, yeah, dude. And some of them are like, no, you're not. So at least if I'm wearing the ring, I can be like,
if you maybe some more perspective or advice from you, RVD, if you could give on the style that you guys worked. We've talked about it the whole episode, how it's very similar. Do you have any advice on how to avoid having your body break down from such a more of a chaotic style?
I have always been very vocal about pretty much everything, you know, but I mean, there's no secret, I don't think, to my wellness plan that I've used for decades now. You know, it consists of cannabis. It consists of stretching.
Stretching's the key. Stretching's the key.
You know, like my whole career, I mean, I stretch for like an hour before a match. Sometimes, I can do it in 30, but, you know, if I have time and I really like to loosen up and feel like I'm at my best before I, you know, get in the ring. That's important to me. And throughout my whole career, nobody else ever does that. The only exceptions were Devon would stretch. It was only, you know, for a few minutes, but at least he would stretch every day. And CM Punk would stretch, and his stretch, you know, was, I don't know, it might have been 15 minutes, whatever it was more than just a warm up. Most of the guys, they kind of just do this a few times, you know, and I don't see how they can not plan on getting hurt. You know, I used to look at them and be like, maybe those guys are tough, because I know if I would go out there cold like they do, I'd be, you know, stiff and have a short career, which some of them did, or, you know, but stretching is part of my my wellness program, always has been, and now that I have the CBD and we have THC also in California and Oklahoma, working on it in Nevada. But we've never been allowed to study the plant marijuana, so all we knew about it for years in my lifetime was it gets you high. You know, it has THC and that was ever since this moment in history happened in 1947, where Mayor LaGuardia said, hey, if I'm going to ban marijuana use in New York City, let me do my own tests on it. And Harry Anslinger, who was the head of the FBN, he was pressing everybody to prohibit marijuana for racial reasons and for reasons of profit. And so Mayor LaGuardia did what's called the LaGuardia Commission Report, which you can look up. I'll put a link below. He came back and he said, this is bullshit. Marijuana, it's not addictive. So now that it's getting quasi-legal in certain states, we're just starting to study it, and we're learning there's over 100 cannabinoids in the plant. THC is just one of them. And they all have purposes in our body with our own system, because we produce something that's an endocannabinoid, which is how our body does almost everything. I mean, there's a message system, one in our brain and one in our body, and it controls everything from metabolism and bone density to migraine headaches and stomach periods. It's amazing. We don't even know what all it can cover. So we're all still new in that. And people are hearing of CBD for the last few years. Now they're going to hear about CBG and CBN. And so I'm into the whole plant, but also the whole study, the whole process of learning, you know, what combinations can give you what effects and avoid certain effects, you know. And you can do that with the right doctor now in the industry. You can say, look, I need to study. I don't want to be sleepy. I want something that inspires creativity, makes me feel good, but doesn't give me, you know, the munchies and the giggles. And they can you can check off boxes. And that's not even that new. That's a few years old, but people don't even know about that yet. And certain doctors will, you know, say, well, here's something that's, you know, 20% CBG and 40%. Yeah. So it's really amazing. And so I'm also in other places. I have like Delta 8 and Delta 10 and CBG, CBN. So yeah, RVDCBD.com right now, though, is kind of essential to learn about everything. But you can't mail certain stuff, THC products across state lines. So CBD is the flagship.
Ninja, have you used it? Have you used RVD CBD?
I have not used that specifically. I mean, I support everything RVD is saying and everything he believes in. I think that it goes well with my my mindset on energy and a lot of energy and be able to feel energy. And like I said, I'm a big supporter, so I'll definitely be interested in check it out in the future. But everything he's talking is right. I think you using that to make sure you're treated well, to keep yourself straight, to keep wrestling, and everyone's going to be different. I mean, some people get headaches after matches when they're dehydrated. Some people are fatigued. Some people can't sleep at night. So to be able to have multiple ways to heal yourself at your accessibility makes it so much better, especially going forwards. Like you said, studying that. That could be future changing for a lot of wrestlers and maybe prolong some careers.
And it already is. I mean, a lot of the wrestlers from my generation killed themselves off either from suicide or from accidental overdoses. And both of those related to head trauma, which is why I started my own CBD company, because I read that CBG could help with degenerated brain tissue, which it got me into it and started studying about it. And I already knew that THC was helping with dementia, where first it was like slowing it down, and then it was in Alzheimer's disease. And more with Alzheimer's, it was actually preventative, and then it was actually saying it could help actually fix something that's already worn off and help communication in your brain. And so the whole area has always been an interest to me, and I've had a lot of concussions myself, but it's really it promotes homeostasis. And for me, feeling like I'm at my best instead of just recuperative measures, for me, that's important. Well, kind of always, but when I'm ready to perform, it's at another level, and I got to feel my spiritual vibration has to be high, has to be, at a high frequency in order for me to really feel good. Otherwise, you are exuding that vibration out, and if you don't feel good, everybody else knows you don't feel good, and they don't feel good looking at you.
I love how passionate you are about it too. I just love how into it you get when you talk about it. I mean, obviously you have the business, but still it's cool to see that, resonate off you.
And the feedback, just like I said with the RVDology, I got to pull all the feedback out and find a productive way to post that on a platform to let the people,
Definitely. Yeah.
But it's been amazing. Like, we're helping so many people, and quite often I'll get the feedback from people that have either tried CBD products and were ready to give up on them because they didn't work, or they just didn't know which way to go because there's so much shit out there. And either way, getting results from my product, because I didn't just slap my name on something. I mean, I helped. I tweaked it and several times, told them exactly what I wanted, helped produce, and I try every single product myself too. So, and give my opinion on it.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. We're gonna definitely rub that on, because I'm bumping all this stuff. I'm gonna have to get these bruises rubbed out, keep that stretching up. But definitely always interested and would like to check that out.
I'll try to remember to bring some extra to Japan in July.
Yeah.
It is allowed there.
No, that's really cool. One of my favorites is Jeff Hardy, and obviously you created that magic with him in the ring. And I just wanted to know, with both of you being so different, so unique at your time, did you connect with Jeff?
Yeah, I always connected with Jeff, more so than with Matt. And I've seen Matt probably more, at least definitely more in the last several years. I've done signings with Matt that Jeff wasn't at, but I just and I love Matt, but I just felt like a common, more of a, I don't know, I don't want to say a spirit for lack of a better word, as far as like our vibrations matched. We were both laid back and both passive in the way that we thought everyone was crazy for being confrontational where they could be passive, we hated the part where everyone goes over the match and everyone acts like, they don't have any ideas, and and they look around, and it's like, I still hate that. That's the worst part of the day for me. But me and Jeff, we would like tend to not be there until we have to be, and they're looking for us, like, hey, you guys are in an 8-man. Everyone's looking for you two. They're out by the ring. Everyone but you's going, talking about, oh, okay, yeah, we'll be there. I remember one time me and Matt were sitting in the back, and at that time we both felt like whatever we're going to suggest is going to be turned down or looked at in a way that's going to insult us, when in the meantime they know what they're going to do anyway. And by they, I mean, that's how we felt about like Hunter when he's involved in it. And I remember somebody was in the building, they were setting up chairs, and they had one of these rolling carts that holds like 2 or 3 rows of a whole bunch of chairs. They were pushing that. It was just like in a movie when they push the window or the mirror that goes by and people run through it. It was going by. Me and Jeff both looked at it. I can't remember which one of us said, like, there's got to be a way we can like jump on the back of that and get the fuck out of here without anybody. and also when it comes to the actual match time, I know Jeff's one of those guys that everything that I think is going to be really cool, he's going to agree and think, yeah, that's really cool. Whereas some other guys, they might not quite get it because they don't have that connection or that vision, or they want to change it to something where it's like, now I don't even care anymore. Like there's a lot of compromise, like I said before. And when it's with someone like Jeff, when it comes to doing business, there could be zero compromise.
Good.
Ninja, now throwing it to you as we wind it down, I'd love to hear, because a big part of how everyone's seen you are these clips. If you had to pick, if it's possible, your top 2 or 3 biggest spots that you've done. I saw you just did that big sunset flip off the ladder that I thought was great.
That Chicago sunset bomb on Dante and that scramble, that'd be an easy one. Yeah. Fighting Mike Bailey in Los Angeles on the edge before he was a little quicker on his kick. Guy's a phenomenal wrestler, Mike Bailey. And he got a little quicker kick, and it was a good 23-foot fall. So, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't on the better side of that, but that was a very big moment and a pretty big fall in a big spot. And then, I'd like to say just my debut in Noah, or just being at Noah, to be able to be there and like have one of my goals pay off. That wasn't just like hey, let's see what we can do. It's a year of work of just fully grinding and being able to achieve a goal. And it finally paid off. That was a big moment.
Speaking of grinding, I didn't want to interrupt with my grinder since it's a good segue.
Oh, you got the fancy one, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Whack It, WAKIT.
There we go. Yeah,
yeah. It's a friend of mine is sells these, but it's so badass. Like, it stays charged forever and ever and ever, but it is rechargeable, and it's got a little ball and chain.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
You just press on it.
Yeah.
Boom. So sorry, Bert. Sorry, that was just a convenient interruption to get a pop. Totally.
Anytime.
Good
yeah. No. Yeah. Rob, I don't know if it's even possible with your career, the length that it is. Could you pinpoint, are there moments that you see spot wise that you were like, wow, that you look back on that as one of your favorites that stand out above the rest?
I like the overplayed ones that everyone has seen, like me jumping off the top to the crowd with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And I would do that with Bam Bam, Bubba, or Balls Mahoney. Those are the only 3 guys that I considered big enough targets to do that on and have at least a chance of not getting yeah, because I'm heavy and I'm ass heavy, and I've heard from everybody that that's not an easy catch, even without that distance. But the Scotty Riggs Van Terminator, that clip's pretty cool. when I debuted it in California. And what's really awesome was that I built up, I'm going to do this new move, and nobody even knew what the move was, but they were chanting for it because I told them it was the Terminator. I'm Scotty Anton. I'm going to hit you with the Van Terminator. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even recognize my voice when I see that clip now. That's the interview I did with Fonzie beforehand. But anyway, the crowd was going Terminator, and I'd already hit the Van Damator. I'd already hit the frog splash. It was obvious whatever I'm going to do is going to be right here. So I was like, hope they like it, you know, and then it was awesome, and the crowd was awesome. So that definitely goes on. And I don't know, how about holding up the belt at One Night Stand?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And the build, the reason that moment was so great for me is the build up for that moment was my entire career up till that point.
Iconic moment that we'll remember forever.
And it goes into a great, I mean, it's currently Cena month right now is what they're calling it. Do you have any specific thoughts on that night? Other than obviously you just said it meant a lot to you, on someone like John Cena, the shirt throwing, of course.
Oh my God, that was so good.
That was
so good. The crowd, nobody could have had any idea the crowd was going to be that awesome and that memorable and standout-ish. You know what I mean? There's been times, not very many, but I mean, I have seen where the crowd, you know, gangs up on Cena before. It happened like in, I think in Wales was the first time I saw it, but it's still that ECW hardcore crowd that wanted, you know, 100% wanted me to win for everything that I stood for and they stood for. I mean, that couldn't be replicated, I don't think, at any other night. And so that was an honor to witness that and to be in the middle of it. And what great support to have during that match. The match was awesome, just like most of my matches, when especially when it's with somebody that really wants to go and it's a high profile. I don't think I have too many bad matches out there, but the match, was unique in its own ways. And I didn't let myself believe that it was going to happen until it happened, because like I said, there's so many times you get told they're going to do this and then this and then this, and then you're like, hey, what happened to this and this? Well, so much that I didn't let it. That's another way to stay humble too, is to not even, believe it until that actual moment where it's like, I'll be damned if it can happen. I'm holding the championship belt, and this is a big win for ECW. And I didn't know I did know at that time that we were bringing it back as a third brand too. So that was all part of that victory for me.
It must have been so cool, like the feelings inside you, knowing that you were going to lead that, into that third brand, of course, before it actually transpired, but still really cool.
I was so recharged because I would go through different. Yeah, for sure. As you can imagine, I go through different cycles when I was there. Like first I was like, I'm going to WWE. I guess I'm selling out. They're going to call me something stupid and erase my past. And then I was like, Tommy, what are you doing here? What? You're representing ECW? Yes. And then after a while, I was like, oh, okay, what they're doing, wait, I got the hardcore title. Yes, I get to still wrestle ECW style. And then, and then it was like that. And that definitely coming back as ECW and having a third brand, and knowing that I was the right guy behind it, and that the seed was planted and, up here, it made all this possible. And just all of that. I remember, because before that, I was kind of feeling, like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stick around. I feel like I really need a break, the monotony, the politics, feeling like I felt like it didn't matter. I didn't matter. And then all of a sudden, boom, I remember saying, dude, I'm good, man. I can go another 10 years right like this, man. Let's get ECW going. Let's build it up. And then, of course, it was like, oh, we're doing the shitty arenas again. We're back to the Ross Raver Ice Arena, Pennsylvania, and we cut back to the original ECW budget for advertising. Oh God, yeah, all of that.
Wait, that's so funny. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's well, Ninja, I'll throw it to you. Final question. You mentioned that your goals are going to have to change now because you achieved the ones, your short-term ones you had. Do you have any long-term or short-term goals right now in your mind that you're setting?
Well, I don't know exactly where Pro Wrestling Noah stands in the Japan rankings of wrestling, but my goal would to be able to take Noah as far as I can go and take him to the top, and I'd be making a good push for the light heavyweight championship. And that's going to be one of my goals this next year, is to take a shot and then take that belt away from whoever's holding that. So that's one of the goals I've already got down. I got a couple money goals. You know what I'm trying to pull on the indies. I've set some personal goals. I keep the numbers to a side, but I'm taking big gambles and big bets, and I'm swinging big for indie work right now. So that's another big thing, is just working some money, personal goals. And say just having my third goal is to add as many foreign countries as I can to my wrestling resume now. I've been very fortunate to do about 7 in the last 3 or 4 months. And then just in between my times of my Noah tours, I'd really like to venture out even more, because I've had a couple more countries hit me up. And then with my previous experience in the circus, just to add to my country add-on, I'd like to get as many countries as I can added onto my belt. So that's probably my big third goal, is travel a little more in between Japan.
I really hope you achieve them too. Similar question for you, Rob. Any goals or how you want to leave your legacy when eventually you do? Right now, I know you're still going strong.
You know, I've always answered this question by saying that I just hope for consistency. Life is fucking awesome, and it's awesome on a progressive level, and it always has been. That's why I'm always so optimistic, because I always have so much to look forward to, so much going on, that even when a lot of it doesn't happen, new doors open up, and then it's always been that way. So I mean, I could make a list of stuff right now that, you know, I got my fingers crossed for. You know, a lot of it is in the CBD world. You know what I mean? As far as distribution goes, we got some potentially great distribution coming up that involves getting in vending machines and going national. And then there's always, you know, there's the video game, but then there's the other video game. And then,
yeah, you're in a lot of, you got a lot
coming
up.
They're doing a new action figure, and now they're doing a Funko Pop, you know.
A Pop, I saw, yeah.
Yeah, I only know because I saw it on social media. I still don't know how I'm going to get RVD's copy, you know, my own Funko Pop, because so far I saw it on Twitter and I was like, what? And then I saw it again. I was like, dude, it must be true. And but I have no idea, because that's just the way our deal is. We both have the rights to my intellectual property for the length of time of the contract. And so I've kind of greenlit them to go ahead and do all this stuff. In which case, you know, I get the royalty kickback. But I don't know until everybody else knows, usually, when something is coming out. But as far as all that goes, there's always stuff, you know what I mean? I got 3 or 4 people that are talking to me about getting movie projects together, you know? And so I always, in my body, I hope it just continues to keep feeling better, because right now, the universe is saying, dude, I feel a little bit resurged. It feels good it felt really good to get in the ring. And it's only been since April. I've had, you know, a few matches this year. I went to Ireland for Over the Top Wrestling, and I wrestled in Canada, wrestling again in Canada the week after this Budokan match on July 23rd, OCW or something. But anyway, I try to plug that stuff on my social media, and I definitely will film it. And you can live vindictively on all my adventures through my YouTube videos. But I'm gonna go with consistency again, dude.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's the best way to do it. And the final thing is, do you have any lasting advice for Ninja Mack before you see him in a few weeks?
Let's see. I'm impressed with who did you say trained you? Booker?
Yeah, I started with Booker, and then this last year I've taken a close call with Low Key, and I've really gone to Low Key this last year quite a bit.
I feel like you got a mask on to hide that really you're like a 15-year veteran. That's based on everything that you're saying. But that's awesome. It's awesome that he gets it, and a lot of people don't get it. As far as advice, everything has to evolve. So I understand a lot of the things that might frustrate me about watching wrestling is just part of nature. And some of the veterans back when I started out saw me that way. And I understand that as well. And I definitely helped influence the business in a way that made it more what it is now as opposed to what it was. So I would, there's a inner behind doors saying, expression that's like hopefully, I don't know. I don't know. It's not a big, I'm just thinking like I'm in the dressing room talking and so Marks, cover your ears, but there's a, this is a question that I've heard a lot of wrestlers ponder in conversation talking about the business. Is it a dance or is it a fight? For me, it's always been a fight, and I'll just leave it at that. That's the way that I was trained, from the get-go, from the start. If my opponent was on his back and I didn't jump on him and try to pin him, Sheik was gonna, yell at me, if not worse. And it was all about trying to win, and there was a reason for doing everything, and while he never once told us how to help each other, or here's how you hit somebody without hurting them, or he never once broke kayfabe ever, and he never had to, because we knew to an extent of how much we were going to have to work together. But for him, it was always about, what, you look like you're afraid of hurting each other, grab them, squeeze them. And it was always about bringing it in tighter and closer. And it used to be about protecting the business was the number one rule by far. Number two was nowhere even near it. And then somewhere along the line, I think somebody went to like safety first. Like I said, it's this nerf-friendly environment that we live in. But my perspective is definitely when I'm in the ring, that it's a fight. And sometimes it looks like it's really, a lot of the guys definitely lean towards dancing. So, ask yourself that question and place yourself on your own time. But that's what I'm going to send out there for advice, is to think about that one.
Well, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can't thank either of you enough for coming on. Like, this was so enjoyable. I think you guys rocked with the concept, definitely. And thank you, really.
Right on. Right on, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And of course, watching YouTube will help anybody. Watching RVDology will shape you into a fine, young, respectable man.
Yes,